Today's episode is all about the most disgusting, violent, and downright scandalous controversies to unfold in the realm of fast food. From Jack's employees contaminating food with menstrual blood, to McDonald's managers selling drugs using the drive-thru window, to a Burger King refusing to serve the disabled, welcome to yet another installment of the internet's most infamous fast food disasters. If you're watching this video, it's more likely than not that you've received bad customer service at fast food before. While it can be extremely frustrating, most of you out there have the social awareness not to make a big scene out of it and, work towards a sensible compromise with the employees who fucked you over. Well, this wouldn't be the case with the woman who became frustrated at a Chipotle in Parma, Ohio late last year. This is the story of the Chipotle Chucker. In September of 2023, a customer by the name of Rosemary Hain became furious after receiving her order, apparently being unsatisfied with the quality of her Chipotle. Despite attempts to calm her down, Hain completely lost it and violently threw a bowl of hot food directly into the employee's chest and face. The whole incident was recorded by a bystander, with another customer immediately confronting Hain and threatening to call the cops over the matter. It shouldn't be surprising that this footage was immediately uploaded to social media, with many being outraged by the woman's absurd behavior. The victim in question was 17-year-old Emily Russell, with Rosemary being quickly arrested and charged with assault. According to Fox 8 News, when questioned about why she committed such a bizarre act, she stated, "If I showed you how my food looked and how my food looked a week later from that same restaurant, it's disgusting." Despite this, she did offer a full apology and made it clear she regretted her actions. The judge, however, was completely unsympathetic to her pleas. She was sentenced to 180 days in jail, with 90 of them being suspended. According to official sources, Judge Timothy Gilligan, who was presiding over the case, wasn't quite done yet though. While a jail sentence was bad enough, he felt that this was an opportunity to teach the woman what it was like to be on the receiving end of customer abuse, so he offered her a deal. If she worked in a fast food restaurant for a minimum of 20 hours for an 8-week period, he would significantly reduce her jail sentence. And this was an offer that she readily took. Yeah, part of her punishment from the judge was having her actually work at a restaurant. While this had clearly been an unpleasant experience for the young worker, she didn't seem to let it impact her all too much. In an interview with USA Today, she stated, "I was telling the judge she left the building and went to her car, and she came back, and that's what she did to my face. We live in a world right now where she could have done anything she wanted. She could have punched me in my face or pulled a gun out. I'm lucky that I only got a bowl thrown in my face." It was also revealed that she believed the punishment was befitting of the crime, saying she was satisfied with the outcome. In addition to all of this, a GoFundMe was started for the girl, with it racking up over $10,000 in total donations. Obviously, what Hain had done was inexcusable and shouldn't have happened, but the donations and public outcry certainly served as a nice silver lining to the unfortunate event. However, this wouldn't be the end of the story. An article was recently released by the news outlet Grub Street, where they examined her life after the incident and whether or not she had actually received a proper punishment. According to the article, she ended up being employed at a Burger King restaurant to comply with the judge's request, but this is about as far as her goodwill went. She's had some questionable comments when reflecting on the incident, having the nerve to imply the clip of her throwing the food in the employee's face had been, quote, taken out of context, stating, "If you saw the full video, you'll see me waiting for 35 minutes. You'll see me say something to Emily that's not rude or anything. You'll see her talk rude to me. I wish I could post that." It's also important to clarify here that the reason she says that she was upset was that she thought that the food just looked disgusting. The order was actually totally correct, but, she justifies her outrage by saying that it just looked like shit. Which I've had some fucked up bowls from Chipotle before, but come on, bitch, this is like out of line. This, combined with the extremely long wait time and the allegedly rude service, apparently led this woman to the infamous outburst. Overall, the situation serves as a reminder that fast food workers are human beings as well, and no matter how frustrating terrible service can be, it's never worth going completely psycho over some food. A common trope in movies and TV shows is the idea of a disgruntled fast food worker tampering with the customer's order, usually by spitting on the food and serving it while the recipient will mindlessly go about eating it without a second thought. While it's disturbing to imagine, it's actually extremely rare that this happens. Most of the stories that you've seen online over the years regarding fast food contamination, it's all hoaxes, myths, and urban legends. That being said, some incidents have occurred, and one of the most graphic and disturbing occurred at a restaurant in Columbus, Mississippi. This is the story of Jack's secret sauce. On January 7th of 2017, 18-year-old Sky Juliet Samuel was working at a Jack's restaurant when she became frustrated with a customer in the drive-thru. The exact wording of their exchange is unknown, but the important thing is that it was enough to greatly upset both parties. Sky in particular got so upset that she decided to add something a bit extra to the customer's order when making it. According to later reports, she licked the cheese for the burger and then proceeded to wipe menstrual blood onto the sandwich, allegedly disguising this stuff with the condiment. Sky's co-worker witnessed all of this, and when she went home, immediately told her mother about the incident, who then proceeded to make a post on Facebook, warning any patrons that had ordered food from the restaurant in a specific window of time that their order may have been tampered with in a serious way. The victim had reported Sky, intending to get her in trouble for her poor customer service, but after seeing the post, put two and two together and reported the incident to the authorities. According to an article by KFOR News, the mother of the coworker who had initially reported the tampering was fired a few days later, implying that Jax had attempted to cover up the whole thing. However, this rumor was dispelled once it was revealed the employee in question was actually terminated for stealing food. Once the news became public knowledge, a wave of disgust swept through the internet, as many were horrified picturing the event in their minds. It goes without saying that Sky would be fired immediately from her position, but the story doesn't end there. This wasn't a simple prank gone wrong, it was a serious health code violation that could potentially land her in prison for up to 5 years. She eventually did turn herself into police after a warrant was issued, willingly allowing herself to be arrested. However, she was soon released on a $5,000 bond. Interestingly, according to the Daily Mail, the girl had previously worked at a Krispy Kreme nearby, but was terminated for reasons that weren't exactly clear. Hopefully she didn't add some of her own custom frosting to a strawberry donut. A spokesperson for Jax released a lengthy statement expressing their concern regarding the ordeal, making absolute certain to emphasize that this was a unique incident that had never happened before at their establishment, making it clear that they were fully cooperating with the proper authorities.
Jax sent out this statement saying in part, "Food safety is our top priority at Jack's Family Restaurants. The company takes any claims of improper food handling very seriously." Recently, an audio tape recording was posted on social media claiming that an employee at the restaurant in Columbus potentially violated our stringent food handling standards. The employee allegedly involved in this incident was terminated several days ago for unrelated reasons and no longer works for the company. The restaurant received an A rating. At this point, Jack's internal investigation is ongoing, and the company will do everything it can to assist authorities with their own investigation.
The story gained so much traction that Sky was covered by The Breakfast Club and was deemed Donkey of the Day by Charlemagne the God.
Let me get a bite of that period patty.
Yeah.
I'll have a menstrual cycle with cheese, please. Hold the pickles. Sky,
Yeah.
I don't know where you're eligible to work after this. Okay, you need to go to college and get you an education because this is by far one of the worst things to ever have to write on a job application. Have you ever been convicted or arrested of a crime? If so, what? Yes, I got arrested for putting period blood on people's burgers. Please give Sky Samuels
Nothing
the
wrong
biggest
with that,
hee-haw.
by the way.
That's disgusting.
Sky was eventually sentenced to 1 year in prison in late 2017, which is pretty nuts because in a lot of these fast food cases, most of the people just end up getting fired. Very rarely do they break the law and get time served, but that's the case with this woman. It's disappointing that someone would throw away their reputation over something so petty, with this story serving as a grim reminder to be alert when receiving fast food from strangers at restaurants. So basically, you need to be paranoid every time you get a McChicken or some sort of fucking sandwich, because who knows what sort of bodily fluids might have been squirted on that bitch. The restaurant itself seems to be going strong, meaning that despite the controversy, they were still able to maintain a loyal base of customers. So if you guys couldn't tell, diving into these fast food stories is some of the most fun that I have here on the channel. And I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Ground News, for helping me get the facts straight before taking the plunge. Ground is a nonpartisan news app and website that aggregates news reports about current events and puts them all in one place, in the hopes of exposing media bias and making it easier for you to see all sides of a story. You'll see a news outlet's political bias, how historically credible their reporting is, and even who funds the media organization. For example, we all know that Mr. Beast has been in some hot water recently. He was actually sued by the company behind his ghost kitchen burger restaurant chain, Beast Burger, and was accused of using child labor to produce his Feastable chocolate bars. And aside from the food controversies, he's been in the center of, the whole Ava Chris Tyson shit, and there's people digging up old clips of him allegedly using slurs. It's a lot to go through and tough to weed through fact and fiction. Ground can help you out here. Ground News found 65 sources covering Mr. Beast, and only half of them are considered credible sources. This credibility rating is based on how subjective or objective their reporting tends to be, using historical data. They call it the factuality breakdown. Ground also helps expose how hyperbolic headlines can be, with some being comically subjective and editorialized. Just look at some of these. Here you got Gizmodo reporting Mr. Beast, quote, hired Elon Musk's favorite attorney to fight sociopathic claims made against him, while a Business Insider article calls the attorney, quote, an aggressive super lawyer. Personally, if you're somebody who likes keeping up with current events and news headlines and even social media drama, Ground is useful. I personally enjoy browsing it. So if you're trying to surf through the BS that's online, let's give Ground a shot. Check out Ground News at ground.news/wavy or scan my QR code. They're independent and subscriber funded, and my viewers get 40% off the same Vantage plan that I use for unlimited access to all their features.
Quintarius Brown says he couldn't figure out why people behind the counter were laughing before he got his order. When he saw the words Lil Ugly Dude printed at the bottom, he ran out of the restaurant.
Much like rude customers, rude service workers are a dime a dozen in today's busy world, but rarely will they directly insult you to your face. Usually workers will have enough common sense not to berate customers or call them names at the risk of losing their job. But occasionally things do slip through the cracks and employees just can't seem to help themselves. In 2016, a 15-year-old teenager named Quintarius made an order at a Wendy's located in Mobile, Alabama. At first, everything seemed normal until he noticed the workers laughing at him as he received his order. Confused, he looked at the receipt and found out that somebody had inputted his name as Lil Ugly Dude. While the insult may seem tame, it had a significant impact on the young man. According to his mother, Tanisha, Quintarius had suffered from mental health issues his entire life, and the incident was a massive blow to his self-esteem. When she found out about the incident, she was furious, posting about the issue to Facebook in an attempt to garner support, stating the following. My child was so embarrassed and upset, he said the whole store was laughing at him, including the manager. I play about a lot of things, but my kids isn't one. My ghetto side was telling me to go back up there and let him have it, but I'd rather do it the right way. She would further express her frustration in an interview with the local news outlet WKRG, characterizing the incident as blatant bullying.
We get the receipt and I looked at it and say, Lil Ugly Dude, and I'm like, really?
It hurt my feelings.
It made me cry. I was embarrassed and I felt bad.
Because it's considered bullying. You know, you don't go around making fun of people because you don't know their situations. That's bullying.
Quintarius was obviously extremely upset by what had happened, as anyone else would be, honestly. I mean, he got violated by these dudes. The story would gain traction across the internet and started getting covered by numerous media outlets. Given how much negative publicity the incident had caused, Wendy's was quick to step in and offer an apology. Ed Sheffield, a spokesperson for the company, issued a statement claiming the employees in question had been fired, issuing an apology to the family as well as the victim himself. It's unclear exactly why the employee felt that they needed to do this. The insult really doesn't make sense, as, I mean, Quintarius is like a relatively normal looking guy. And like, why would you make a paper trail for if the guy did find it? Like, it's really easy to just be like, bro, like, what the fuck? Like, it's on the receipt. He could just bring it back and be like, this has the time, the date, probably even the cashier's name on it. And then you guys are fucking with me in a way that I can easily backtrace. These guys just must have been really bored, I guess. Regardless, the incident certainly soured the young man's perception regarding the fast food establishment. But hopefully he took some solace in the fact that those responsible had been held accountable. The Wendy's in question is still in operation today with a surprising Google rating of 3.4. But that was the story of Lil Ugly Dude, not to be mistaken with Lil Ugly Mane.
I'm about to wash the floor with these buns.
It's no secret that over the past few decades, fast food restaurants haven't exactly kept up stellar reputations for themselves. They're often characterized as being extremely cheap and having poor customer service, but the silver lining to this is the knowledge that you're getting the same thing every time, not having to worry about sanitary issues since the restaurants are all held to the same strict sanitation standards across the country. Unfortunately, employees can sometimes abuse this sense of security and get away with some pretty wild stuff, which is exactly what happened in an unassuming Checkers restaurant located in Philadelphia. In October of 2016, an employee named Richard Benson and his co-workers decided to start live streaming to Facebook, presumably out of sheer boredom. Now, while goofing around on the job like this isn't uncommon, it was the thing said during the stream that got people's attention. Upon watching re-uploads of the stream, you can see and hear Benson making numerous disturbing claims, including that he's actually taking bites or eating burgers that are supposed to be served to customers.
This is not my burger, it's doing some thick.
At one point, he even goes as far as saying that if his ops came to the restaurant, he would take the buns of the burgers that they ordered and wipe them on the floor before serving.
When our ops come through, this is what we gotta do to them. I'm about to drop this on the, I'm about to wash the floor with these buns.
Bro was ready to catch his ops lacking. They continued to dig their hole even deeper as the stream went on, with Benson saying that he didn't see the point of using gloves while making food. Just like a complete disregard for standard health practices.
What do you say? What's the point of wearing gloves is what? So your hands don't get dirty. She talking about yellow.
Gloves, man.
You're slacking. Look at him.
I'll make this bare hands, man. I scratch my head and make a burger.
The cart, bro.
According to the Checkers website, in basic common sense, regularly changing your gloves and washing your hands while making food is absolutely mandatory, with the employees displaying a flippant attitude the entire time. Towards the end, you can also clearly see the man smoking what looks to be a blunt, though official sources claim that it was simply a cigar or a cigarette. After the live stream, the group of coworkers decided it would probably be best if they deleted it, apparently just assuming that nobody would care enough to report the incident. Unfortunately for this group, it turns out, most people become pretty alarmed when restaurant employees are bragging about messing with food that they're giving to the public. And this is being streamed online as well. The message got spread across the internet and people were kind of worried about these people. Many in the online community that saw this video were shocked and appalled given the fact that some individuals watching this stream had actually eaten at the Checkers that was being showcased in this disgusting live stream, with Checkers corporate quickly scrambling to try and salvage their damaged image. Benson was of course immediately fired along with several of his co-workers, with the company claiming that they would also be retraining their staff in an effort to rehabilitate the restaurant. It also wouldn't be long before Richard himself would speak out in his defense. According to an interview conducted by NBC 10, Benson claims he was joking the entire time and would never actually do any of the things that he described.
And now on top of that, I'm a comedian, I rap a lot, like I love. So it's more like to get people to, oh, now we know who he is. Then when I promote a CD or something, it's like, oh, that's the boy from Checkers that, oh, his song hot, you know, it's basically a publicity stunt, and it went wrong. Like, I didn't even post it. The crazy thing is, I was going live. When you done going live, they ask you, do you want to post it or delete it? I deleted it.
He was a self-described rapper and comedian and called the whole thing a publicity stunt, though suffice to say his jokes weren't landing. In complete fairness, there was no conclusive proof that they actually messed with any of the food that had been served to customers. That being said, according to an article from Inquirer, the restaurant had already been due for a reinspection after the unsatisfactory review from the Philadelphia Department of Health that had been given just a month prior. The restaurant had apparently closed its doors without being prompted by the authorities and issued a statement condemning the incident, though this did little to quell the backlash. Benson expressed regret at himself and the others fired, but made it a point to emphasize that they had never done anything to mess with the integrity of the food they had served to customers, though he definitely did smoke inside of the kitchen. Reports regarding the incident eventually stopped, and the Checkers in question is currently closed down, seemingly for good. While it's hard to tell if the incident is the exact reason for the closure, it's hard to imagine that it didn't at least play somewhat of a role. Interestingly, a similar Checkers incident had occurred just a year prior in 2015, where employees did actually wipe buns on the floor, and this was a national news story covered by numerous mainstream media organizations.
There's just one word for this: disgusting. An employee at the fast food chain Checkers intentionally drops a hamburger bun on the floor, wipes it around, then prepares it like business as usual. It was recorded on a cell phone by her coworker. One guy seems shocked.
Oh my God, yo.
At the end of the day, the workers in question were more than likely just bored and didn't really do any contaminations, but you know, going live with this kind of stuff, you gotta remember, man, once you post something online, it's there forever. Good luck getting a job in the food industry after this stunt. Pulling pranks on fast food workers is an age-old tradition, with some of the earliest viral successes on YouTube being these types of videos, a la fire in the hole videos. However, while most of these pranks are certainly annoying, it's very rare that any of them cross into criminal territory. This unfortunately wasn't the case in 2016, when one prankster took things way too far. As the story goes, it was a typical night at a Burger King located in Coon Rapids, Minnesota, when the manager of the restaurant had received a distressing phone call. The caller posed as a firefighter and advised the manager of a potentially dangerous situation, claiming that there were harmful fumes that could result in the restaurant literally exploding. According to local news reports, after this call, he panicked and instructed the employees to bust out the windows of the establishment in order to prevent a catastrophe, with the entire ordeal being caught on camera. It goes without saying that all of this was completely false. Not only had the fire department never contacted the Burger King, but there was no toxic gas to be found there at all. Ethan Grew, who had been working at the time of the incident, told CBS News that, quote, his other coworkers were doing it, so he just followed along, unquote. While on the surface it seems ridiculous, in the moment it appeared to be very real to those involved. Apparently, the caller had done extensive research in an effort to come across as legitimate as possible, fooling the manager and making a mockery out of the local authorities. However, this was far from an isolated incident. In a bizarre twist, the exact same thing had occurred in April of the same year at another Burger King located in Oklahoma. Similar to the previous story, a prankster called the restaurant and convinced the employees that if they didn't break the windows, deadly gas would spread throughout the building. This too was of course a hoax, costing this particular Burger King over 10 grand in total damages. When speaking to local news outlet KFOR, a firefighter named Thomas Larman stated, quote, it is a little upsetting that they would try to give the fire department a black eye. We would never do anything like that. We're here to serve the public, protect the public. However, these two stories paled in comparison to an incident that occurred at another Burger King located in Morro Bay, California. As in the previous stories, the same thing happened, and like clockwork, the workers began to break down the windows. The manager apparently then had the fantastic idea of driving his large truck through the building. While in previous instances, the breaking of windows was arguably justifiable considering the fact that they actually believed there was a real gas threat, it's hard to imagine why anyone would think ramming a large vehicle into the restaurant would help in any way. According to the Daily Mail, this caused $35,000 in damages, with the manager in question being suspended. The sheer volume of incidents occurring resulted in authorities investigating the matter further, believing that it could be a coordinated attempt, but it's unclear if a culprit was ever found even after all of these years later.
Too busy, man. I can't do it in full order at the window. I'm sorry. It has nothing to do with your disability. I have a disability too, okay?
Disabled people are one of the most vulnerable groups in America, often facing difficulties with tasks that would otherwise be easy to complete for an average healthy adult. Because of this, the government has passed several laws and regulations making it mandatory for businesses to assist disabled customers. Unfortunately, this can sometimes conflict with the inherent nature of fast food restaurants who want paying customers in and out as quickly as possible. With an example of this going down at a Burger King in 2019. This is the case of the tone-deaf Burger King. In August of that year, a deaf woman by the name of Rachel Hollis decided she would get fast food with her sons, figuring it would be a smooth experience, as she claimed she had done this numerous times before without issue. Instead of speaking into the intercom and placing her order, she pulled up to the drive-thru window and handed the employee her cell phone where she had her full order written out in the iPhone Notes app. This is where things turned sour for the family. For whatever reason, the employee in question refused to meet her request, handing the woman a handwritten note on a receipt, claiming they were too busy and unable to accommodate her disability. While they stated she needed to go inside and order, Hollis was rightfully indignant. It made absolutely no sense for her to do this, and considering the fact that her children were napping, she felt like they were being unreasonable and she wasn't going to move out of the line until they served her. Instead of simply accepting the fact that her order might take a little bit longer than normal, they decided to call the police on her, claiming over the phone that she was refusing to leave. Of course, all of this had been caught on film, with the footage subsequently being provided to a local news outlet who included it in their report on the issue.
You have to come inside. It is too busy, man. I can't do it in full order at the window. I'm sorry. It has nothing to do with your disability. I have a disability too, okay?
I just wanted my food. They should treat me like a hearing customer.
Hollis says police did show up but didn't even get out of their cars to question her. She says she eventually got her kids fed and home, but that's when she broke down.
I was very upset. I was crying. I was very tired. I'm tired of discrimination. I never experienced anything like that. For someone to call the police, that's crazy. It just didn't seem right.
While the man in the video claimed his request had nothing to do with their disability, many others begged to differ. Online commentators were outraged, with many pointing out the Burger King staff had made things infinitely worse by making a scene instead of just taking her order. As stated before, this was also in direct violation of the American Disabilities Act, which mandates that businesses have to provide their services for anyone regardless of whether or not they are disabled. Because of this, Rachel Hollis decided to enlist the services of an attorney named Cameron Spradling, who claimed they had violated the law by not taking Miss Hollis's order. Suffice to say, the Burger King employee was swiftly fired, with the whole ordeal kind of highlighting how stress-inducing jobs in the food industry can sometimes conflict with the person's basic human decency, with them feeling as if they gotta, be fast with it. You're turning down blind, disabled people, goddammit. The news outlet Today reached out to the fast food giant for comment and received this email in response. Quote, all guests should be treated with respect. The employee was terminated and all employees at that location will undergo additional sensitivity training to ensure our customers always feel welcomed.
Right between the cheeseburgers and a medium fries, packets of crack cocaine.
The idea of an innocuous business serving as a drug front seems too insane to actually be true. Shout out to Los Pollos Hermanos. The concept being reserved for TV shows and movies and, basically an impossibility. However, it turns out that for a Brooklyn McDonald's, this fantasy was much closer than reality than one would think possible. 26-year-old Frank Guerrero seemed like your average employee. He worked as the night shift manager at the fast food chain for 8 years, something that certainly took a lot of hard work and dedication. Unfortunately, it seemed that the pay left something to be desired, as Frank began to expand into more shady business ventures on the side. Behind the scenes, he was running an illegal narcotic ring using his position at the store as a means to deliver drugs to customers. An article from New York Daily News reports that he went about it like this. The particular McDonald's restaurant was open 24 hours, meaning at a certain point only the drive-thru window was open. Despite this, he would allow his drug customers to enter through the front door and conduct their business, stashing the drugs themselves in soap dispensers. He would often gift the customers their special product in McDonald's meal bags. Something that sounds so absolutely ridiculous on the surface, to be honest. It's like, this is like an actual Happy Meal, you know what I'm saying? Apparently this system worked well, at least for a time. Guerrero would eventually be busted by authorities for slanging out of the Golden Arches. According to the Office of the Special Narcotics Prosecutor for the City of New York, officers conducted numerous exchanges with Guerrero before making the arrest. Over the course of 8 separate dealings, he sold them almost $11,000 worth of cocaine. He was so brazen with it that undercover officers were able to score 100 grams of the illegal substance in a single exchange. Talk about a fucking meal deal. This was a massive operation drawing a significant amount of money, but as with all things of this nature, it didn't last. After investigating Frank's home, they managed to find over 200 grams of cocaine in addition to a significant amount of cash. The case was so ridiculous that even those involved in the investigation made a joke out of it. When speaking to the press, they revealed that the code name for the entire operation was, quote, off the menu. When speaking to the New York Post, narcotics prosecutor Bridget G. Brennan said, quote, the conduct was so blatant that it would be comical if he weren't committing a serious narcotics crime. Ordering coke took an entirely different meaning on the night shift at this McDonald's. Due to the significant amount of drugs discovered at his home, Frank's wife was also arrested on suspicion of collusion. While it may seem like an operation like this was impossible to slip through the cracks without the owners knowing, it seems like this was exactly the case. The owner of the restaurant released a statement condemning the crime, claiming he was in full cooperation with authorities on the matter. Reporters, of course, had a field day with the story as well, making numerous puns at the expense of the criminal fast food worker.
Involved in this sting operation were saying, I'm loving it, when they got that side of Coke along with their burger and fries offer at this Soundview McDonald's. They say cocaine and crack cocaine were on the menu with the night manager doing the dishing up, but it's the kind of Coke that gets you time behind bars. The night manager had a busy side hustle selling to undercover cops. 26-year-old Frank Guerrero had been the night manager here for 8 years, but cops caught on to his drug trade in crack and cocaine during several undercover buys, eventually racking up more than 10 grand worth of illegal drugs that they say the manager would sell to them by tucking it inside a cookie bag.
I don't know what this is. This is fish on the floor.
We don't know if it was going to be cooked or used for sushi, but we do know it doesn't belong on a filthy, wet, greasy kitchen floor.
Chinese buffets are a staple of any American city. With fast service, cheap prices, and plenty of food, these establishments often draw in crowds of hungry working class individuals trying to get their money's worth in a struggling economy. Unfortunately, many of them have reputations for being dingy and unclean, being characterized as extremely sketchy. While most of the time, food inspectors do their job and prevent businesses with shady practices from harming anyone, sometimes things do slip through the cracks, which is what happened in 2016 at a restaurant located in Miami, Florida. In January, a restaurant with the nondescript name China Buffet was investigated by the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation and was found to have had a whopping 110 health code violations, with the business receiving yet another 74 violations in early February. If this wasn't enough, later that same month they received yet even more violations, this time racking up to 86. It goes without saying that most of these were the result of the restaurant refusing to fix the same issues time and time again, with the place gaining notoriety in the local community. This was enough to pique the interest of local news station WPLG, who decided to launch an in-depth investigation of their own into the establishment. It's important to note that the vast majority of the information about this whole ordeal comes from them, as mainstream publications stayed away from covering what was primarily a local affair. WPLG reporters decided to take a closer look at what happened behind closed doors, filming everything notable they stumbled across. They found what seemed to be a scene out of kitchen nightmares, food that wasn't properly being stored, disgustingly dirty cleaning equipment, and a rancid bathroom that, according to them, emitted horrible smells. At the beginning of their report, you can see them examining what appears to be a raw slab of salmon that was just left sitting on the disgusting floor. Now keep in mind, all of this was filmed after the restaurant had been previously shut down numerous times for health code violations and had been bafflingly allowed to reopen without issue. The news crews later decided to confront the owner, who was extremely hostile when questioned, leading to this exchange.
The owner doesn't want to talk about it.
No cameras.
No cameras what? First of all, don't touch. First of all, don't touch the camera.
Don't touch the camera.
Talk to my attorney.
Don't touch my camera. Don't touch my camera.
110 violations. It's the worst inspection we've seen in a long time. 110. We show those entering to eat what was recently found inside.
I'm gonna find somewhere else to go.
You're gonna eat somewhere else.
Yeah.
I just bought from there and I returned it.
After the report had been posted to YouTube, it went viral, accumulating over 12 million views and shocking online observers. Many were disgusted and appalled that such a restaurant was even allowed to operate. Travis Keels, a spokesperson for the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation, was asked this very same question by WPLG. The regulator responded, quote, "Once an emergency closure or suspension of license has been cleared to vacate by the director of the Division of Hotels and Restaurants, an establishment has to come into compliance with any violations deemed an immediate threat to public health and safety and is permitted to open and operate." The news outlet would continue their coverage of the restaurant's antics in an attempt to shed light on something that could potentially lead to innocent people getting sick. They returned to the restaurant soon after their initial report, where they were confronted by an employee.
But today we were back again.
No,
I need to talk to Kevin.
Okay, no here. Okay.
Can you call him?
Okay, no here. Sorry.
I want to talk to you. Why? Don't.
Don't touch my camera.
What?
Why do you keep?
Don't touch my camera.
Why do you keep? Why is the place not getting better?
China Buffet was quietly bought out soon after and renamed Royal Buffet in 2017, perhaps in an attempt to distance themselves from its unsavory past. Unfortunately, these new owners did not seem to be any better. Later reports indicate that they too would be shut down after a live rat and hundreds of pellets of rodent feces had been found during a restaurant inspection. If you look up the restaurant's address on Google, you'll be met with a warning stating the establishment is permanently closed, hopefully never causing the public any more issues in the future.
Oh shit, you are wildin'. Oh shit,
Waffle House is a beloved breakfast chain that's an undeniable Southern staple, with hundreds of locations across the country. And yes, if we considered the Chinese buffet a fast food place, we're considering Waffle House a fast food place, goddammit. Just for the sake of this video, okay? Despite their attempts to maintain a family-friendly, wholesome image, in recent years they've been characterized as cheap and somewhat ratchet, with memes regarding their employees getting into fights spreading across the internet. However, there is one particular incident of this nature that stands out, with it being legendary to this day. This is the story of Waffle House Wendy. In September of 2021, a violent fight broke out between customers and Waffle House staff at a restaurant located in Austin, Texas after some sort of disagreement. The incident was caught on camera, with bystanders cheering on the violence. At one point, chairs were being thrown, with one seemingly on a collision course for an employee named Haley Booth. However, instead of being struck down and severely injured like one might expect, she masterfully deflects the chair mid-air, seemingly preventing herself from being injured, and looks ready to throw fists right afterwards, like she's ready to fight.
Oh shit, you are wildin'. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit, y'all wildin'. Y'all wildin'. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. On fire. Yo, they still Oh my God, bro! Oh my God, bro! You wildin'! Yo, chill! You about to go to jail? Chill! Y'all about to go to jail! You wildin'!
Eventually, the violence came to an end, with the footage being uploaded online soon after. Something about these Waffle House workers, man, if you mess with them, they'll kick your ass. I mean, when you attack a Waffle House worker, it's like attacking a guard in a neutral city in an RPG game. While in many cases, clips like these have immediate viral success, it actually wouldn't gain traction until about a year later in late 2022 when it finally exploded in popularity. It's because, she's like fucking ultra instincting that chair, like, she saw that shit before it even happened. Perfect deflection. Onlookers were impressed that she had seemingly been unfazed, barely even reacting to having a chair thrown at her, with memes spreading rapidly depicting her as a hero of sorts, with some giving her the nickname Waffle House Wendy, the final boss of all Waffle House workers. This culminated in Haley herself creating a video where she cleared up many misconceptions and gave a more detailed account of her side of the story. Apparently, she had been written up by her boss after he saw her throw a sugar shaker in the security footage that showed the infamous fight. So she left voluntarily and tried to get work at another location. When she tried to apply to new Waffle House, she was told that she had been blacklisted from working there.
Our boss comes in, he looks at the security footage, and he looks at me, and he looks back at the security footage, and he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna give you a write-up because you threw the sugar shaker and it broke. When I left, they had told me, you're always welcome at this store, Haley, whatever, you're good. But, oh God, I was blacklisted. So it was kind of like, I can't ever work for Waffle House again. I tried working for another one, like sometime earlier this year, and I had found out that I was blacklisted.
Many were outraged that she was being punished for simply defending herself, with Tucker Carlson even managing to snag an interview with her.
How did you remain so calm?
I really don't know. It kind of just all happened so fast. It was mainly just a pure rush of adrenaline and instinct that just kind of had me going.
Had anyone ever thrown a chair at you before?
I mean, kids get rowdy in middle school, but not like directly at me.
I don't think I've seen an employee calmer under pressure than you. I assume you got some sort of award and special bonus from Waffle House corporate. How big was your bonus?
I actually didn't get any bonus of it. The only thing that I did get from the fight was a write-up for breaking the sugar shaker. So, and, you know, telling me, you know, hey, we're gonna write you up for the sugar shaker, but you did a good job, you know, protecting the store and making sure that you were all right.
Wait, you were written up for breaking a sugar shaker when someone threw a chair at you?
Yes, sir.
After the dust had settled and people had an idea of what actually happened, Haley was approached by Rolling Stone for a phone interview where she gave them even more details about her life after the incident. According to her, she was extremely grateful for all the support and had even envisioned creating merchandise to capitalize on her viral success even further. Since then, it seems she's maintained a more low-key internet presence ever since the fanfare surrounding her fizzled out. While she did enjoy her 15 minutes of fame, it seems as though any attempt at leveraging her fame into any sort of meaningful online career has fallen flat on its face. But in the grand scheme of things, this is most likely for the best. And well, you've made it to the end. Let me know what you guys thought about Fast Food Disasters 3 down below in the comment section, and let me know who or what you want me to talk about next. I want to give a major shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys. WAVYWEBSURF out. Peace.